So I won't tell nothing else. This means actually fee for being uh, cured or treated. And if you click below to do here, there is an article here. And Google chooses it as the main context. And there are images of dear Mrs. Amek here, and Google chooses these faces. And then there are many stupid other things. But still, since the most of the content is actually about her, especially text, Google assumes that this is a plus this is actually a plus 18 content and also about her, and this is what I am dealing with. I just wanted to show that Google actually is not that clever to see these things, and most of these things are actually not in the main content. They are advertisements. That's why Google doesn't give them a weight. This area is also advertisement, so you can use actually this example as a point of view how Google weights different areas to understand the main context. And video is not working, by the way, properly at least. And when it works, sometimes you will see and hear the Mrs. Amek, and sometimes the video will be bad. And this section again, it is actually not directly entire main content. I can tell that too. It is in a different div in a direct way, and you see that the main query appears here too. And when we click actually these things, we go into a stupid advertisement. I wanted to show these things. I even won't take this video in a good manner, since you already see it. Most probably I won't be able to publish it anyway, so that's why I'm not even opening the light here. So, see you later. Hello, my name is Koray Tugberk GUBUR, and I am the owner and founder of Holistic SEO and Digital. In this video, I will explain you what a Google search engine bug is, and at the same time, I will show you how a black hat SEO can actually exploit it. So beyond Google, every search engine has bugs, and usually Google says that they have, or let's say Google says we have millions of baby algorithms, and I usually say they actually have billions of bugs, and some of them are not even babies. And during your daily search, it might be a little hard noticing these bugs, but if you are a search engine optimization expert, it's actually not that hard after a point. Even a kind of from a simple type of Google auto suggestion or a kind of a search term or something like that, you can actually understand there is a bug on the search engine side. Time to time, or from time to time, I actually explain these type of bugs or send these type of bugs to the Googlers as well. And they also tell that they will check, and usually they check, but they fix them like 6 or 7 weeks later. For example, I didn't tell to protect the search engine and also the users of the search engine a little, but Google Indexing API is really debatable, and probably until I publish this content piece, it will be fixed, because I won't publish this video until this project ends in a successful way. If you watch this video, it means that this project ended in a successful way, and I am writing the case study or already written or maybe even published. The project is actually about entity-oriented search and entity identity management, but it's something else. Today we will talk about something entirely different here. So when I search the same thing from actually Turkish or Turkey location, we don't see that area here. As you see, there is only Facebook, there is nothing else. But if I search it from United States, and thanks to my job, I always search from United States with English language, here we see Facebook, plus also these Mazrobi.fr. Once, one of the search engine optimization experts with more than 20 years of experience, he told me that, do you think that Google doesn't check the authenticity of the structured data? Do you think that they will believe whatever you tell in the structured data? I told him that, yes, they will believe it, or even if they don't believe it, they will use it, because understanding these errors here, it will take tremendous amount of time. Having a search engine is really big cost, because you can't always fix bugs, you can't always try to improve any kind of search algorithm, and imagine the algorithm count per every search engine engineer and coder. It is tremendous amount of work. So here, this website says that they actually have 783 reviews with 5 out of 5 stars just for this business. This business also belongs to the, I won't tell the name for protection of the project, but let's say you see it on the screen. So basically this website is fake. And a number that you hear, and the number that you see here, it actually comes from the, it directly comes from the actually the structured data. So this is what a search engine bug is. And I will tell you one more thing. This website has been launched like just 2 days ago. So imagine that you are actually launching a website 2 days ago, and the search engine directly assumes that, okay, this website should be authoritative, so that it means I should actually publish their reviews, like their authentic reviews, so that if someone tries to have a kind of dental operation or any kind of medical operation, they should check the reviews on mesruby.fr. And then, in fact, it is not just a mesruby.fr. If you look at the left bottom side, you will see that it is actually even a random lettered gibberish subdomain. So basically, the Google tells that we should actually link this website even if they are just launched 2 days ago. So I know some of you think that is an expired domain. No, it is brand new domain. And they use FR because they need a little counter level, top level domains for stripping themselves from some algorithms. At the same time, that's why you don't see it in the Turkish section, despite entire subdomain is Turkish. So that's why I'm telling that understanding a search engine is not that easy. Sometimes I train SEOs with even 15 years of experience. Still they have some really hard time for understanding all these things. So let me explain a little, because if I write an article about this thing in the future, probably it will be like 20,000 words, because this is a really interesting case. First of all, this situation is a little about multilingual search, because the domain is for a country top level domain, but at the same time content is actually for Turkish, but it is also a subdomain. And it doesn't end there, unfortunately. I will show it later, but basically, even if the content is in Turkish, we don't see it in the Turkish query or Turkey location. We see it only for the multilingual search like this. Even if this word is Turkish, we see that there are some character embeddings here that appear only in Turkish. We have this name, which is a special name, directly here. And then we see this website. This is the site for just multilingual section. But why do we see this website here? Why this one? For example, if you launch a website with this amount of reviews, will Google show it too? Maybe, but most probably no, because the quick thing here is that exceeding the thresholds. They say 783 reviews. First of all, it is too much, because Google has some options there. An authoritative source with extensive amount of historical data and authority, or a new source that just publishes 300 pages in one day with this amount of reviews, unique reviews, and all of them are 5 stars, and also the source is international, and also this is a rare query, small business. So in the candidate list, this is the it is the most possible second candidate, because it has tremendous amount of reviews. Once you exceed the threshold, if they don't have checker algorithms, or even if they have, it might be triggered like 6 months later, and until then the scraper can create another website. So this is also what we call programmatic SEO, besides the black hat. And this is basically what a search engine bug is. A smart search engine engineer thinks that no one will do it, and then a smart SEO actually does it. And at the same time, a search engine bug means that a search engine doesn't function as it should be, and at the same time they lose the relevance, or they also lose the information, or they organize the information in a wrong way, or serve the information in a wrong way. If you think like that, the situation here actually might not be bug, because here we have reviews, here we have the stars, so what's wrong with it? Why it is a bug? So let's go on that area. So here I am saying that give me any kind of result from this URL, and it includes this subdomain. Here we have, it says, I won't tell the name. This means age in Turkish. If you go to the below, at some point actually, or if you go in this area below, you will actually see this type of related search terms. And actually age is one of these, and it is actually one of the most important prominent attributes for this specific entity. And it also appears here too. If you go to this entity identity profile here, it's directly on the SERP. And at the same time, if you don't know Turkish, of course you won't understand that, but there are some repeated questions at different places with different endings and other things, but there are also other day's topic. So with that said, let me just come here again. We have this result here. It says that we have 783 reviews. So probably also until the Google fixes it, again, I won't publish it probably because I don't want to harm. And here they say that we have published it because it is relevant to this term. Let's go to the more about this page or more about this source. We see that about this topic, which is normal. For the source, we have nothing because it's completely new. And let's go to the cache version. The cache version says that ILS, which means a soldiership entry exam, 2019 fee. So let me just translate it for you. Application fee in 2019 just for ILS exam. But here we have age of labor, which is irrelevant. Then we have some other things here. We have a couple of content about just the specific person, but then we have actually nothing for that person. We have entirely different irrelevant content here. Completely irrelevant, everything actually different, but sometimes we see her image here too. So I will continue and I will show you some other sections or other things here. By the way, as you see, there is no 783 reviews here. So let's go back. I will show you something else. I will click here. Let's see what will happen. So they are actually using dynamic serving. They show a different content to the Google. They show user another content, and probably they also, if it is not dynamic rendering, I didn't check it that much because I didn't care. Maybe I can check it later and I can put a kind of subtitle there. But basically this is a kind of scam, a kind of fraudulent content, and they try to actually take your information and they try to actually scam or steal your money. They also block the back section there. And if we try to go back, they also tell that you won another thing. You won the iPhone 13 Pro, blah, 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 which is stupid. So let's try to take this website. Let me just, okay, I clicked the wrong way. Anyway, I will close it. I will close this one too. So you see here, Google actually indexed already 102,000 web pages. So when I publish my semantic SEO course, it won't be just about semantics. It will actually teach how to understand the search engines. And also in the course, there will be unique nearly 20 different SEO case studies, and the total word count for these nearly 20 SEO case studies is actually already more than 70,000. And one of them is actually focusing on the quality thresholds. So the quality thresholds, the relevance thresholds, indexing thresholds, or prominence thresholds, there are many thresholds for algorithms. But why the Google actually indexes these things? One of the reasons is that actually probably they just have checked everything according to the Google bot. They rendered everything here, but due to the dynamic rendering, they didn't come to the website yet as a user, and they didn't compare the difference. Another reason is that they might use a sneaky redirection for JavaScript in a different way, and that algorithm, that detector algorithm, it might not check it yet. I will show you some other things from the cache so that you can actually see, because in their methodology, they actually, as you see also, the typography changed too, because they use different types of subdomains for every section, and probably for every topic, for every related search term or related search term group, they again use a different design because they scrape multiple sites and they unite all of them under different subdomains. So it is also tricky because even if the search engine punishes the source, probably it will be for the subdomain. Reflecting the punishment from subdomain to domain entity will be harder. I love SEO. And it's really, the life is really weird. Like 4 years ago, I was doing these things. Anyway, I won't dive in there. So basically, let's go one of these things, maybe this one. Oh, sorry. I clicked the normal link, but I actually should use the other version. So I won't choose a category link from there. For example, this might work. Again, it says, as you see, again it says this one, and here we have something else, and here we have a different author with Kirill alphabet. And another thing here is that when you read these things, you will realize that they're actually taking multiple content from multiple websites. So maybe one day I can explain you the string similarity algorithms or content hashing or cryptography algorithms or other things. And you will actually realize that Google uses always different things for understanding the duplicate content, and sometimes they use links, sometimes they use layout or other things. But here, once they unite multiple content pieces, and once all of them are actually not unique, but when you actually take multiple content sources and when you blend them, and when you also change some of the sections, the order of the words, when you remove some of the headings or change the typography, and when you do it in a bulk way, you are exceeding all of the thresholds. It means that Google will think that initially this should be quality. The content is usually not unique, but in a way it is more comprehensive than others. And also all of these subdomains are directing everything to the main website, the main domain. And at the same time, even if not every sentence is unique, every content in a way more comprehensive, and sometimes they also paraphrase things. At the same time, since they scrape all of the related search terms and put them into the titles, even if the term title doesn't appear in exactly the H1 or other things, they can take all of them. And in terms of the relative quality difference, I will explain what it is in the course. They're actually exceeding the threshold a lot. And even if the search engine tries to understand whether this is actually a duplicate content or not, it is too costly. It doesn't worth it. And they will try to check these things maybe even 6 months later or 7 months later. And until then, this website will be able to actually link many real money websites. And they will actually increase the crawling rate and also the page rank of all these money websites too. And at the same time, you can't punish these money websites because it is too risky. They can also put other types of sources there, the competitor sources as well. And these are the results just for now. And we will watch the source together. And if it doesn't get a punishment, probably I won't publish this video, or I will try to help Googlers for it. Or of course, there is also one more condition. And to be honest, I see these type of situations like every day. But since I try to be more active and more sharing on YouTube and on other areas, from time to time I will take these type of casual videos. And I will try to explain things as much as possible. We explained what a search engine bug is. We have shown a real world example, and we also have shown a real world example how the actually SEOs can exploit it. And we also explained why a search engine can't directly understand it or check it, what is the cost for it, and at the same time what are some terms like, for example, the relative quality difference. At the same time, we didn't talk about everything here. There are other things that I will explain in the course, of course. For example, when you launch a website for the first time, there are a couple of things that Google actually does as well. For the first time websites, they are actually exploiting that too. I am thinking about publishing this video. Probably I will publish it. If I publish it, I hope you don't exploit it. If you try to exploit it, probably I will also try to help Google too. And use clean ways, try to apply to my course and try to watch my other videos or use my case studies to understand the search engines, but do not use these type of methods. It doesn't worth it. I have done it for years. Until a point, actually, you will have more harm than use. You will see it eventually. Anyway, thanks for listening to me, and see you on the other videos. Hello, my name is Koray Tugberk GUBUR and I'm the owner and founder of Holistic SEO and Digital. In this video, we will be talking about entity identity creation and the management. And most probably this will be the last video that I will be publishing before the launch of the Semantic SEO course. If you see this video, please be careful because most probably you will be seeing some of the testimonial videos. Then check just the newsletter that actually I have created. And since the get review actually doesn't work anymore, I am using Behave right now, and you can use SEO newsletter that digital. I will be putting this link as well. Just subscribe to the newsletter so that you can get the link. And we will be creating also a Facebook group, and the Facebook group will be free, and we will be creating a new community there, especially for the future hybrid search engines that are mixed with the generative AI and dialogue systems as well. And when it comes to this specific SEO case study, there are many videos that actually, or videos or search results that I have taken as an example, but I won't be able to publish or share all of them. I will try to share only 2 of them, and the rest won't be shared because they have a lot of adult content. And this case study involves many ugly things and many some, let's say, noble situations as well, because I call this a feminist SEO case study. We will see how a really successful businesswoman, or how actually a really successful and professional dentist actually has been called just ex-wife by the Google systems. And I know that many people actually experience these type of things. There are even anti-SEO services to make people look bad on the web. So based on that, I also need to mention here the Jason Barnard. He is founder of the Cube, and I can tell that he is founder of the concepts like brand SERP, knowledge panel management, and also he is founder of the Cube, which is providing actually entity SERP optimization services, and basically they actually change how you are served to the search engine and the users, and they define the brand SERP as the business card or the new business card. We will also talk about ChatGPT, new Bing, and new Microsoft Bing, and also how the future of the search will be affected. And we will also explain why actually semantic SEO will be the most and the dominant search activity or search optimization activity, because the new and the small websites, thanks to quality content, they have actually a higher chance to be ranked. And right now, for instance, if you search for a product or a news or something, probably you will see around 15 or 16 domains on the first page. But thanks to the new search features, especially thanks to the actually integrated chat systems to the search, we will be able to actually see maybe more than even 30 or 35 different domains between sentences, which means that there are more clickable areas. And now entire search rankings or the search understanding will be changing, but the thing that won't be changing will be actually we will always have a query and we will always have the results. And most of the time the game will be played with the semantics, and of course PageRank also will increase its prominence too, but without semantics PageRank won't be able to save you. So after this long introduction, as always, most probably, as I say, I will put that 2 video. Maybe you will be just start to watch them. I am not good at that much the video editing, and it's not my target here, but if you just watch them, I hope I will be able to censor some of the adult sections at least, or maybe I won't publish that much sections. But imagine that if I just explain some sections of the case study. Imagine that you are a successful mother, businesswoman, and also dentist, and Google defines you as an ex-wife. Then, I won't give a name, but imagine that some people related to the ex-husbands or ex-lovers or something, they start to publish pretty bad news about you, just for slandering you. And then, some of these people, let's assume, they are also owners of some media companies and media holdings, and they are pretty strong, and they have really high level of PageRank websites. Then you don't have the budget. They have nationwide news websites and they are slandering you. And then you need to change how your brand SERP, which is the SERP that appears when your name actually is searched, you need to optimize it for showing and demonstrating yourself as you are. So with that said, you will also need to change actually how Google perceives you, how can you actually prove that you are not an ex-wife, you are a dentist, you are a mother, you are a businesswoman, you are also an artist, you are a showrunner, and you are an author and also a journalist and also sculptor. Yes, actually the specific case study subject has all these features. So because of the traffic accident that I had and because of the earthquake in Turkey, I can tell that I am actually sleepy, and you can realize that I am talking slowly and I don't have that much energy, to be honest. And this might be the less efficient video, maybe, I don't know. But I will try my best to make it efficient. Even if I can't, you can always actually read the article. It has already everything more than I can tell here. And I believe video still will be able to explain many concepts and many steps for you. And I am trying to launch the course in February or in the early March, so that we can stay on the schedule as well, and so that you can also see that why the ChatGPT-like systems can't compete against the methodologies that actually I created. And then you can start to use it for yourself, and you can be the member of our community in Facebook and also in course group as well. So the subject for the case study is actually immaculate, and as I say, she is actually a dentist, and we try to actually say her let's say digital identity on the web. And there are some explanations in this SEO case study. It is already too long, by the way, the article. Let me just check. Another book like 15,000 words and 120 pages nearly. I will be checking some of them, and as I say, even if I don't explain everything, you can always read the article. So to give you the concepts like entity identity creation and the management, what do these things mean? These are slightly different actually from the brand SERP or knowledge panel management. First of all, entity creation and entity identity creation, they are not same things. When we talk about entity creation, it is actually creating a new web entity or new digital entity so that the search engine actually can realize and register that entity with certain types of attributes and definitions to the knowledge base. When it comes to the entity identity creation, it is actually adding a new definition and new identity to an existing entity. If you are defined as an ex-wife, but you are also a dentist, we try to tell the Google that, look, do not focus on the ex-wife, just focus on the dentist, and tell that this person is actually a dentist, not the ex-wife. And in this case, to be able to tell that, first we will need to teach the search engine that you are a dentist. Then we will need to also tell the search engine that being a dentist is more important than being an ex-wife, and you should be actually changing how you serve this entity or perceive this entity. And in this part, we create a new identity, then we start to manage this identity, and we start to tell the search engine how to define you. And the things that I will be explaining in this area, it is not just for the person search. Imagine that you are a topical authority for a topic. It means you define what entity means what. If you are able to control the definition of something, you can actually directly control what people will think, what people will believe in, and what people will be searching for. If you are able to be a topical authority, it means that you will be also be able to tell the search engine what should be related to what, and which query actually should be even more important. And it means that if you're able to control the concepts in the knowledge base, it also means that your competitors will have to imitate you. And this is the end goal for the topical authority. And this is the first time that actually I'm explaining this. I call these things actually as topical map expansion and topical map distortion. The expansion, it is slightly explained in the previous case studies, but imagine that you expand a topical map just for diluting the topical authority of a competitor. You can also define concepts differently so that accuracy of your competitors also can be decreased. So that's why topical authority is actually an always on game, and to be able to play that, you will need to understand the semantics and the linguistics, and you will need to think with the abstract concepts. If you have a lawyer past, or if you are good at reading for, let's say, sociology or psychology or other types of disciplines like philosophy, then you can get these things in a really good way, because you will be able to use the abstract concepts to construct a kind of new thought stream or thought hierarchy with different types of connected concepts. And it requires, of course, a strong logic. So entity identity resolution is the process of recognizing an entity with its type, attributes, and values. Entity identity resolution is distinct from named entity recognition, but it is a necessary step in the process. Entities are living things inside the knowledge bases with different attribute value pairs. Knowledge graph is the visualized version of the knowledge base. Every knowledge base doesn't have a knowledge graph, but every knowledge graph has a knowledge base. So Google has a knowledge base too, with different attribute value pairs, which means that their identity changes with other types of associations. The optimization and control of identity shifts and changes in knowledge bases based on document statistics is known as entity identity management. Sorry for this quillbot thing. And document statistics represent the entity values and their definitions with certain types of linguistic statistics, such as statement declarations or dense that are retrieved from the content items. The dense retrieval, it is a different topic and long topic. Maybe we can process it in the future. For example, a document that is mentioned 99 times for 46 different sources is resolved as horse from the animal class, a living thing. If it is mentioned 5 times from 2 sources as a brand name, it means that the entity's first identity comes from the document statistics, but it doesn't mean that the search queries are not important. So let me explain this area. Let's assume there are 2 different document clusters and the word horse is mentioned many times in these specific document clusters. In this case, we will check actually how the specific concept has been used in these 2 different distinct clusters from 2 different contexts. And if you realize that the specific concept has been used tremendously more in one of them and the definition is different, in this case actually this will be the first meaning of that word based on the document statistics. But what about the query statistics? For instance, let's say we have 1 million documents that mentions the word cat. And in this case, let's assume that in 99% of these documents, the cat means a specific thing. But let's assume in the search queries, we have, let's say, 1 million search demand per month. And the search queries, 99% of the time, let's say, the word cat means something else. So in this case, there is a mismatch. Most of the documents use the word with a meaning, let's say, context 1, but most of the queries use the same word with the context 2. Usually in information retrieval systems, this doesn't happen that much because we have something actually I call as illusion of choice. I will explain illusion of choice later, but let me say it in this way. Usually when you search for the best hosting service, you always see the same brands, right? Not because they are best, because they are the best paying hostings for affiliate marketers. And that's why affiliate marketers continuously tell that these are the best ones. And the search engine sees that, okay, these brands are mentioned all the time. They are actually rated high with high rankings, high stars. So they should be the best. And the search engines also start to rank them. So this is what the illusion of choice. The affiliate marketers take the commission, they rank the products higher, then actually search engine sees that the product is quality, then they start to rank the product in their product search systems. But when it comes to the actually this specific area, it is also something that actually I call as a loop of information retrieval and also the consolidation. In other words, imagine that as a searcher, you read something. Then based on the things that you read, you search something else. If we are able to control the documents that you read, it means actually we can determine what you will be searching for. In this case, if I use the word cat with the context 1, most probably the cat will be registered to your brain with the meaning 1 or the context 1. And then you will be using that word inside the queries too. So my example for these 99% of the documents mention the word cat with the context 1 and 99% of the queries mention the word cat with the context 2. So it doesn't happen that much, but even if it happens, most of the time due to the competition, new candidate documents will actually start to be coming. This is also relevant to the broad core algorithm updates because inside the broad core algorithm updates, the thing that is happening is basically search engine changes the vectoral distance between different types of words based on their statistics, and the statistics come from documents. If they realize that this word has been connected to this word with co-occurrences or the proximity or word compositionality or different types of sequences based on the sliding window or attention window, these concepts are coming from actually NLP. In this case, actually, in this seconds optimization, the search engine will realize that, okay, I shouldn't put the word drinking closer to the smoking. It should be more closer to the eating. So if I would ask you, what is the semantic distance between eating, smoking, and eating and drinking? Which two of these, or which pair would be actually more basically dense? And based on that dense, you will be getting other contexts. For instance, eating and drinking might actually have diet, and drinking and smoking might actually have the addiction. So based on these things, we will be able to actually create many other types of contexts and the contextual hierarchies inside different contextual domains. That's why I will suggest you to actually don't think that right now here we are talking about feminism, or I don't know, just how to create a brand SERP, or how to serve a certain type of person entity, or how to create a knowledge panel for yourself. We talk about actually core of the semantics. Probably you already have watched the entity value attribute pairs SEO case study and exact matching domain SEO case study. This one here, it is connected to that. Exact matching domain SEO case study didn't focus on just the EMDs. It also focused on semantics, topical maps, topical authorities, but also changing the meaning of the query and how to actually manipulate the search systems or search engine systems to change the meaning of the query. Here, we will be actually tweaking the search engine's brain, like touching it. We will directly touch the memory of the search engine, and you will realize that how the document and the query statistics will be affecting the identity of an entity. So the concept in this area, in this section actually, after this document statistic example, we can also give the example of the query semantics. For example, a search query might have, let's say, 99,000 search requests per year, and signal that the specific entity is a brand, while the same phrase might be used in 9 other queries, but they represent an animal with actually nearly 500,000 search requests. In this case, even if the document statistics represent an animal for the same phrase, the knowledge base gives more weight to the profile of the entity. But information retrieval systems, most of the query search demand and document statistics share the same correlation because of the traditional SEO practices. Thus, a search engine might expect document and query statistics to align with each other, even if they don't. In this SEO case study, we examine how document and query statistics create a search memory in the search engine's entity resolution algorithms, and how it affects the brand SERP knowledge panel management. The specific SEO case study is titled a feminist SEO case study because Google refers to and mentions a famous and successful Turkish dentist as a ex-wife in knowledge panel, despite the fact that she has many other attributes. And these attributes are actually really, really many. And I also created a podcast with this person for 8 hours. I asked questions to the person answered, then I actually recorded everything, then I turned everything into a podcast show, which is already inside the Spotify. So that's why when it comes to search engine optimization, I don't think that these things are just actually for blue title links or affiliate links we try to be paid. I consider SEO as a science, and I approach it as with an engineering mind. But sometimes the methodologies and strategies that we choose, it requires us to create actually creative content, in other words, artistic content like podcasts. And that's why I consider the SEO is a unification of art and also the science. And that's why, don't worry, it won't be that. Furthermore, some important factors caused fake news distribution without even triggering queries, and these fake news stories that harmed the entity's digital reputation came in variety forms and from important authoritative sources. This section is important because thanks to the semantics, you will see how we make Google to focus on our own news or our own digital PR more than the competitor, despite they actually use like websites with 15 millions of clicks amount, etc. And our sources are actually way much more weaker there. And in this area, the Immaculate is actually the topic here, and you can check her search results, and we will be seeing the comparisons of all these search results as well. And I can tell that actually she has a patient record with more than 30,000 people. So she is like a machine. And she performed and published research on child growth health habits such as toothbrushing or to educate mothers and fathers. And also she worked in New York. She is educated in actually New York University, and also she worked with many other famous doctors like Dennis Tarnow or Norman Kremen in Brookdale Hospital. And she came actually back to the Turkey, and she created actually 2 clinics in Turkey in 2 different famous hospitals as well. Then she also has found her own clinic as well, which is Smile Institute. So in this case, imagine that you do all these things and you are mentioned as just ex-wife. It is awful, right? It also makes person angry. It should be making person angry. And to be honest, when it comes to the humans, I just see the human. I don't see the gender or the colors. So I also hate that type of things, whether it is coming from woke culture, whether it is coming from actually other side. I even don't know the name of the other side, to be honest. I just want to see the humans as humans, and I just want to focus on the skills and the talents, like merits. And when it comes to this area, this system that Google uses, it doesn't focus on the merit. It just focuses on, as I say, statistics. And in this part, actually, we will see why they have to do it in that way. We will talk about the consensus theory. Then we will talk about embarrassment factor, correlation of web answers, and nature of meaning and factoids. After that, we will actually move on to the content removal request with legal ways or with search systems in a controllable or semi-controllable ways. Then we will also talk about entity homes, topical maps, and we will be giving actually some other methods like how to blur the identity of an entity. And usually I don't publish black hat things that much to not harm. It's real that, but you can use some of these things for changing SERP in a way that some people probably won't like. But try to not use it if it's not just, I believe. Anyway, so also the entity here is actually a mother, always on learner, businesswoman, etc. I told these already. And there are many other things that actually I mentioned here, like the ChatGPT like systems, or why the actually search engine prefers web sources when it comes to serving the celebrities with their own content, because maybe it is here. For instance, Cameo, Google Cameo was the system, and in Google Cameo, basically the celebrities, they were posting videos directly to the SERP. And Google removed it because they told that actually Google prefers third-party independent sources when it comes to serving celebrities or when it comes to giving results for the celebrities. Right now it is removed, and before actually we were able to use knowledge panels, and you are able to add new managers to the knowledge panel. Imagine that you have a knowledge panel on Google. You register yourself. You are also able to add users there, and users post for you to your SERP. Right now they can post, but at least they can actually have some control for changing some other areas in knowledge panels. The knowledge panel management section actually comes from there, and only probably 2 or 3% of SEOs know this or do this. Imagine that you have a knowledge panel. You're also able to add users, and users are able to actually change things there by doing some suggestions with justifications. So that's why that part is also a little bit important. And in this case, to be able to understand this case study, I will suggest you to check my YouTube channel. You will see many other sections in this area, especially check this one, the predicates for the frame semantics. It will be useful for you. The case study in this part, this one here, it is for this website, which is connected to here. And I will be giving the website this time because already some people found it with some methodology. The reason that I will be giving the website name is that, as you see here, I am using a censorship here. The reason for that is that there is no investor, so the project will be halted, unfortunately. And that 27 article was actually a kind of experiment. And right now we will need to halt the project. Before doing that, I want to actually show you the articles, how I structured that, why it worked, and how you can use it. And I will be giving these especially directly inside my Semantic SEO course. And I believe you will be able to use all these things because we are taking clicks or stealing clicks from WebMD, Healthline, and others. And right now, that specific source, it is taking over 2,000 clicks just with the 27 article. It's a Shopify store basically. And in this case, the first thing here that actually I want to tell you is that this SEOs are extremely powerful. We decide who will click what and learn, decide and believe which statement about whom. The management of knowledge and the illusion of choice are two sides of the philosophy of knowledge. And that's why I love SEO. So in other words, it's something powerful and it requires actually too much thinking. Maybe that's why sometimes I like it more. And try to use this power always for the good of the people. It's the right choice. I'm coming from the casino industry. I work in health tourism too. In the past, I can tell that I was always proud of my projects. They were successful most of the time, but also some people might get harm from these things. I am doing these things for the last 8 years, so try to use that power always for the good of the people. And when it comes to these areas, so the specific entities, as you know, we always have an entity type: organization, place, person, or the song, or the movie. But there are also some other types of subtypes. For instance, a person is also human, but human is actually an upper hierarchy there. Then we also have male or female based on the human section. Then we also have actual occupations like dentist, and it is connected to actual person too. In the entity attribute value model structured data section in my case study, basically in my YouTube channel, you will be able to see it, I believe. We explained how attributes are connected to each other and what are the derived attributes. This is about that. I won't repeat it. But basically, this is the first version of these entities auto-suggestions. And here we will learn how to affect the auto-suggestions basically. So here we have the entity, then we have ex-wife, and you see the name of the ex-husband. Then we see these things are Turkish, but I will translate them for you. This one says divorce, lover, marriage, spouse, and ex-wife. So as you see, 80 or 70% of these things are about just personal life, and ex-wife section is here. Also pay attention to the image, and image source matters. Then I already repeated the translated these things in this area, and let me a little bit read this part. The fake search demand has been successfully created. Basically, I created actually fake queries. You can also do it, and I won't tell it for now, but imagine that you are able to create 2000 websites by scraping content from some other language websites, and you can distribute internal links just for fake internal links. And you can actually make millions of pages are indexed. If the website is new, Google actually indexes these websites. And then once these websites are indexed, and once you actually have a really large amount of content, whether paraphrase, etc., Google will start to actually crawl these internal and external links. And once they crawl, while crawling, they will be indexing. And during that indexing time, actually, you can also play with the auto suggestions. You can also play with some other areas. Right now, actually, and for the last 4 years, this is also used in casino SEO a lot. There is one more step there, I won't tell it. My point here is that we are able to create fake search demand or fake document statistics, and based on that we can check the thresholds after how many search behavior change, what kinds of a percentage we need to actually change the auto suggestions. After that we can be sure that this is the needed document count, then we can start a real project, let's say. And since I'm doing these things for many years, I don't use always these expensive methods in terms of time or the server cost. Sometimes just use your instincts. You will have that reflexes as well. And when it comes to this area, the biography attribute is a multi-layered contextual attribute because we can put age or business inside it. Thus, the first target inside the semantic network is specific biography attribute because it is connected to more context. Next step changes its connections to the other attributes with document statistics. I call this reconstruction of the attributes for the entity. Basically, we will be changing the attributes and we will define them with new values. Fake search demand has been used for the last 5 years to confuse Google, and the Google Chrome developers team has a different team that is focused on assigned only to understand the fake traffic. Google always favors popularity, and as you see, this popularity is also an official Yandex ranking score right now, even average domain ranking, or also the popularity signals are used. And if you fake popularity, their system is gamed. Thus, they are way more careful about these types of signals. That's why These signals are used only for testing to see the thresholds for the search behaviors and query statistics and to document statistical change that needs to affect the entity's identity. I wouldn't suggest you to use the fake search demand or the traffic without being a true expert. Another way of faking popularity is through expertise, because we website publishers couldn't fake the traffic. They fake the expertise with the PageRank or AI content, which brings us to the Google Auto Rank research to understand the real expertise. I mostly actually mention Google Auto Rank because thanks to new AI generators, it will start to be more and more important. If you check this area in the Google Quality Rater guidelines right now, you actually see the human effort. It is a signal for main content quality. And if I return to the case study here, to play with the document statistics properly, the documents that signal different entity identities and contexts should have higher expertise. In other words, it is not just about how many documents define the entity. It is about who defines it and with what kinds of trustworthiness and unique expertise. So in this case, if you define a dentist, you will need dentist-related or health-related websites there. You can't go for the magazine sources or the gossip websites. So in this case, actually, it won't be working in a really well or efficient way. And you can see how the entity identity has been changed slowly due to the query statistical change. Right now, we have a different other entity here. As you see, a dentist directly appears in this area. Also, we have an address. And we actually change the identity of the, let's say, entity and its business place slightly. And here it says dentist. Now here we have the biography, but also we have the question of who. Then other important thing here is that we have the word price, because the business, so who, biography, and who are connected. Then we have the dentist, which is connected to biography and who. Then after the dentist, we also have the price, which is connected to us. Then we have the interview, social media account only, and here too this is a form or the forum title. Only this one is actually ex-wife right now, and it is at the bottom. So you can compare these to each other to realize it, and you can try to understand the situation a little bit further. I already explained this part in this area too. Semantic distance. I explained semantic distance in actually Lexical Semantics and Lexical Semantics SEO case study with 29 different web sources. You can check that video. But let's say here there are two main methods to measure the semantic distance between two concepts or real world things. The first one is calculating the association and connection angles and their counts between two entities. The second one is counting the length of the connections or connection length between two things with certain associations. In other words, if A is connected to B and B to C and C to Z, it means that the semantic distance between relevance calculation changes. How to query semantics and document statistics are added together to make up the semantic distance calculation. In other words, actually, probably the sentence here is half. I will complete it, but in this case, actually, A is connected to B, B to C, and C to Z. It means that there is no connection or direct connection between Z and A. But if you check the length from here, it's 1, and from here it's 2, which means that the length of the connection between A and Z is just 2. This is the length of the connection. Another thing here is that actually association count. If you're able to find other paths that is coming from A to C with a range, let's say the range here is just 2 nodes or 3 nodes or 4 nodes, search engine can assume that after 5 it is a different topic, and they can completely change the SERP, or sometimes they don't. And this is what actually they do, as I say in the broad core algorithm updates. They change these the associations of the paths, or they change the thresholds for association count or the distance basically. And we can talk about word2vec or glowy to explain the semantic distance concept, but let's do it in another video with Python codes if possible. And a document that ranks for 99 queries contains two entities that exist in these 99 search queries, and 7 different predicates and specific documents is similar to the other 17 documents that rank for 400 more diverse queries with 23 different predicates. So I know that you are confused, but let me explain the situation a little bit further. In this area, I am trying to give you actually an example of the document and the query statistics to explain you how you can actually create your map. I use the concept of map because map is actually a military concept, and when it comes to semantics, you actually have a conceptual map there. and you are trying to construct a new document cluster over that concept so that you can control the concepts and how they will be served. But while you are constructing a new document network for all these concepts, your competitor does the same. So that's why it is a kind of actually conflict of two different clusters to define the same thing. And that's why we need consensus. If there is no consensus, the search engine will be using actually information warnings, thereby telling that the results are changing a lot or other types of things. It is about information quality. We also explained it in some of the videos and the case studies. You can check the channel. And if I read it from here, let's say if the semantic distance is 99 based on connection count and the length with a narrow association diversity, the document's page rank, their vocabulary differences, and query metrics can change it. A holistic SEO has to understand the search engine engineer, the engineer's data and limitations to bending the entity identities or topical map creation for a specific entity. In this case here too, we actually focus on predicates. That's why I told you to check this video, please. Predicates matter. And you can realize that once you use an entity with a different context, the predicate changes. If you change the predicate, entire frame changes, which means that context will be changing as well. This is about actual sequence modeling. Sequence modeling means that we are modeling the word sequences. And if you are able to change the predicate, most of the sequence will be changing. It's the most central word in a sentence, actually. And let's say, but mostly, only one of these entities is labeled with these predicates as an agent. In this case, the relationships and the associations between these two entities will change, and 23 different predicates will be reflected on the other entity for finding the certain relevance and similarities. Basically, we have a document cluster and we have actually two entities and we have 23 different predicates. We realize that only one of these predicates is only one of these entities. The other one actually always does something else and it has always different predicates. In this case, actually, we are able to construct a knowledge base for this specific entity in a better way as well. And the Boolean words such as and or will be used together with these entities. The semantic distance between these 20 predicate and the second entity will be affected by the associated other entities' distance to the targeted entity as well. I know it is a little bit complicated, but if you actually create a paint or diagram for understanding this part, it will be easier. But let's say focus on predicate and what kinds of predicates appear together with what kinds of person entities. If we have a footballer, the predicates that can appear together with a footballer won't be same a predicate that can appear with a mother. In this case, the nouns or the adjectives or the adverbs also will be changing. And based on that, even if we use a mother and also a footballer together inside the same document cluster, the predicates will be closer to the respective entity. And based on that, we will actually understand what contexts are relevant directly to the what other entities, I can tell. And these associations and predicates are reflected directly in the SERP. For example, the predicates that are associated with a dentist and the nouns that are related to the dentistry are united with the price attribute. And the autosuggestion, the being and the having predicates are united with the biographical attributes such as age, husband, daughter, occupation, success, business, artwork, and more. Affecting the document statistics for nouns, predicates, and their priority inside the document's shape, Google prioritization for the attribute priority for certain entities. So attribute priority is important there too. For instance, when I tell you the predicates of being or having, it means that you are on an age, or you have a husband, you have a daughter, you have an occupation, or you are a dentist, which dentist is your occupation, and your successes is something that you can have. We always have that same predicate, and we actually have all these attributes, which means that you will need to use lots of is a or are type of sentences here. And there are many other things here that actually I need to read. As you see, this is just the 7th or the 6th page of the case study. I will suggest you to read the next parts because here we give examples from a president. For instance, if I read here, the context-sensitive person search invention of Google is a good example of the main entity resolution of the document and association between other entities. Most news articles start with a main entity and a specific predicate, such as President signed, Senator X appeal, Y singer published, etc. The second entity that is mentioned in the article gives the first association candidate, while the first predicate signals the association angle. Let's say we have an entity in the title. The first other person entity that you mention in the article, it will be the first actual association candidate. And based on the person's type or person's occupation or other things, we will actually have association type candidates. And based on that, actually, the article context will be shaped. We will see actually that patent as well. And we use these type of things because we have a dentist as an ex-wife and there are many fake news. And we try to focus on dentistry. So it shows you what kinds of predicates you should be focusing on and what kinds of entities shouldn't be appearing there. I have two males that appear together with this entity. These are Dr. Norman Cranin and Dennis Torno, but I always mention the word doctor, and they are dentists too. But when it comes to other males, they are not. They're not inside the articles as well. You should have these red lines inside your articles too. I believe this is one of the important parts there, and it will be helping you to understand me in the course in a faster way. And I won't dive into the theories there, to be honest. Maybe if you demand, I can, but at the beginning, no. And in this case, this is also one of the things that SEOs do in a wrong way. To affect the results on the SERP, many SEOs try to imitate the first ranking page, which is wrong. To rank on the search engines, an SEO should understand what search engine understands from the canonical query and change the query's meaning rather than changing its own document cluster. Before changing your document, try to change the query's interpretation by the search engine by changing the document statistics as much as possible in a consistent and more clear way. So what are the tiers of entity identities? Basically, when I ask a question like, let's say, I don't know, who is Winston Churchill? He was a soldier. He is definitely a diplomat. He was also a prime minister. He is also a political leader, thought leader, a philosopher. He doesn't that much books, but I believe he's a political philosopher. And he is a technocrat at the same time. And if we go to India, he is also I don't know the English word for it, but he is a kind of, he's not that much different from Hitler for India, to be honest. And the great Indian famine, it is a disaster, unfortunately. And I won't dive into the politics, but basically, when we ask who is who, actually, there are many attributes that we can tell, right? The political philosopher, political leader, or a kind of, I don't know, bad intentions there. Basically, we can use many other things there, and I am trying to be careful for choosing the words, but we can define the same entity as multiple things by using different words. So in this case, which tier is more important? For instance, here, when it comes to our topic, who is immaculate, can be answered in multiple other ways, such as immaculate is a mother, immaculate is a human, immaculate is a female, immaculate is a businesswoman, immaculate is a business. I have written it 2 times, sorry. Let's say young businesswoman or older businesswoman, it can be also told. And also single businesswoman, you can also tell. Immaculate is a dentist, immaculate is an artist, immaculate is an author. And technically, any kinds of noun that appears after the is a is actually an occupation and condition or state. These nouns represent the types of the entity and they are attributes for different angles. But which one of these angles best defines the entity? It depends on the search query owner. In contrast, the search engine must take the average of the users. When we tell average of the users, I might actually search immaculate for her mothership, but you might search her for actually ex-husband, and someone else actually might search her for dentistry. But the thing here is that we have to focus on the average user. To be able to focus on the average user, actually, we will need to cluster the users. And a search engine can cluster 3 things. These are actually documents, users, and of course the queries. The clustered user's query context and the search entity results context should match each other or should be relevant to each other. So in this case, your document, if you are outside of the average user's query context, you won't rank directly. That's why you actually need multi-contextual pages with a different, actually, with, let's say, multiple layers and with a proper flow or contextual flow there. And to be able to achieve that, you will need to understand how to generate questions and create a proper actual heading vector. And sometimes I also call it as the context vector too. And in this case, the first purpose of this specific SEO case study is to change the first tier of the entity identity from ex-wife to dentist. But to come to the dentist tier as the primary identity, there were some other pauses such as author, journalist. Adding new context and new tiers to an entity helps a search engine to re-evaluate the specific entity even further. You will see some actually different types of screenshots below, because before making a Mac killer as a direct actually dentist, I can tell that first I made her digital identity a journalist, sorry, author, then journalist, then the dentist. Why I followed that path, I will be explaining. But first, let's focus on the corroboration of web answers. I explained this concept slightly before, but here I have explained it even a little bit better. Basic corroboration of web answers means that actually we try to understand the truth ranges or what a truth is on that specific topic for that specific question, and what other values are acceptable and after what range they are not acceptable anymore. Because when it comes to the understanding of the truth, we have to use a fuzzy logic, which means more true or less wrong. And in this case, there is not a Boolean logic there, like wrong or correct or true. Basically, we try to understand on what possibility it is correct. If we ask if alchemy formula, for instance, and let's say the alchemy formula has a pH that is over 7, and the sources that declare below 7 pH level are in conflict, the search engines have to qualify and evaluate the web sources for corroborating the answers and find a groundedness for the factual questions. As you know, soon we will be actually having Lambda language model directly as the BART on the SERP, and groundedness is one of the metrics that Lambda uses directly, and groundedness means consensus. That's why I'm telling you that when you read the research papers and the patterns, you will never lose in the SEO. Whatever the search is being evolving into, you will always have actually the information already. And the groundedness, consensus, or nature of meaning, these are connected to each other. And with that said, by the way, since we mentioned it, the new Bing is already here, by the way. When you search for this, Bing directly actually gives you the text in this area. And at the beginning of the video, that's why I told you that actually right now, thanks to your quality answers like this, or answers that actually make the search engine write these areas, you will be able to actually have more clickable areas directly that suggests you. If person actually wants to focus on site plank, and if your actually article also mentions it in a proper way, then you can directly actually can be clickable in this area too. And there are other sources here in a clickable way as well. And if we click to this specific one, the search engine tells that the chat mode will be coming soon. And probably it will be paid after a point. But at the beginning, I believe they will be spending money for taking audience from the Google. And Google will be spending more money for keeping the audience on them. And they both actually will be spending lots of money without thinking about the profit. And during that time, actually, they will try to improve their language model while also taking content from content publishers, and they will eventually will need to give more clickable links to the publishers as well. But basically, if you are able to actually answer these things in a proper way based on the semantics, you will always be having actually more visibility in these areas too. And search engine realizes that your answers are quality, or the text that is coming from you is quality, they will also be prioritizing you in this area and in this area as well. And with that said, if I come to this area again, and in this case, corroboration of web answer is actually creating a kind of consensus. For instance, here it says, hold this position for as long as you can, aiming for at least 15 seconds. Is 15 seconds for this source? It might not be 15 seconds, maybe 20 seconds is better, as in the pH level. So what will happen there? If a source tells 20 and if you don't, but if that source is more authoritative than you, then actually 20 will be, let's say, more closer to the consensus. If you are closer to the consensus, you are in the safe zone, but the consensus might change a lot based on the document statistics. And that's why actually groundedness is a little bit tricky, as I say, for the loop of information retrieval and consolidation, and also illusion of choice. Okay, and in this area, the specific example for corroboration of the web answers involve an alchemy formula and its pH level. If there are 90 web sources that mention the specific alchemy formula and only 37 of them involve something related to the pH level, search engine has to filter the sources based on their attribute involvement. The 37 different web sources for pH level might give 37 different pH level suggestions. In these types of situations, the search engines can use their own knowledge base that are fed with the data commons freebase or manual knowledge base improvements, or they can create a truth range with various corners. The truth ranges have maximum and minimum values for numeric value corroborations. And if there is no consensus for a specific entity attribute value, which is we explained already, the search engine can boost rankings of a web source that states that pH level of X changes between Y and X according to TPV resources. In other words, hubs can outrank individual authorities, as Andrew Broder, who is the author of Taxonomy Search, mentioned. Basically, if there is not a consensus, it means that none of the authorities will be working. Then the source that actually gives all the possibilities with a proper organization and creation, it will be outranking others. And this is one of the tricks that we actually use in this area, and you will be seeing especially inside the course and when I publish that too, because I promised 3 more videos. The 4th one can come after the course. To be honest, writing these cases takes too much time, and I don't have that energy lately that much. I am coming to 30, brothers, and I will be marrying this year, so I need to focus on something more else after the course. And you can read this area by yourself. When it comes to the embarrassment factor, imagine that the search engine tells that horses actually have 5 legs, or pH level of that alchemy formula is 99, which is not possible. Or imagine that the number in this area, imagine that the Bing tells you that hold like this for 6 hours. It will be funny, right? And it is what we call embarrassment. It's funny for us, but when a search engine does it, it's dangerous. That's why I'm telling that SEOs are powerful. So if we want, we are able to harm the people, which we shouldn't. And in this case, for instance, when we search for these are also dangerous too. For instance, where was Barack Obama born? Might seem like an innocent question, but if the document mentions the birth certificate, it will be about the politician attribute and priority of the entity tier of the person entity, which is connected to highly political debate. It means that if the document actually mentions the birth certificate, it won't rank, because you are actually giving a kind of gossip information there. And that's why you shouldn't include every attribute. That's why you shouldn't include everything that you see also inside the queries or inside your competitor documents too. That's why understanding search engine is always more important. The question is, Donald Trump, an idiot, might be seen as an offensive, but search engine need to answer the questions. And the answer to the question might put a search engine, an official into court to defend their algorithms, and this happened. Basically, Donald Trump here tells that, sorry for this image, by the way, I don't hold sides in politics. The image actually comes from a news source in this area. I guess they have chosen this image on purpose. I didn't like it either. I'm not defending him, but at the same time, a normal image could be put in this part or in this area. And here Donald Trump says that Sundar Pichai of Google was in the Oval Office working very hard to explain how much he liked me. What a great job the administration is doing. And that, by the way, I'm not sure whether he tells the truth or not here, but we know high tech, they don't have that much standards usually, and that Google was not involved with the China's military, that they didn't, and helped crooked Hillary over me in the 2016 election that day. And there are many other information in this area as well. And he was angry because he was being shown as an idiot in the search results. And then we had a court in the US. Thus, the political debate are under the category of the inappropriate context. The Hillary Clinton emails, for instance, when you search for Hillary Clinton emails, they try to give you the email answered, not the leaked emails of her, because that it is also a kind of debate context or inappropriate context. So that's why if you want to change the entity results for yourself, If you want to remove certain results, make them inappropriate as much as possible by changing the qualifications of these attributes, make them debatable, make them inappropriate, so the search engine can actually hesitate to give it. If you tell the search engine these are not safe answers or the safe context, and if they are outside of the consensus, or if there is no possible way for consensus, they will try to stay away from that. And here Trump sues everyone, so they need to take some precautions there. So in this case, here actually I will need to read especially this area. This section is important, or let's say more explanatory. And let's say if the specific consensus is not created and the context is not safe either, the number of declaration statements and answers to be corroborated from different sources will increase. In the situation of Emecular, the opposition tried to create an identity for pornography. When you search for the Emecular price, or basically it is related to dentistry, but when you search for the Emecular price, imagine that something really bad actually appears there. I didn't even show these type of things to the Mrs. Emek, so because I didn't want to upset her, and I was just angry, and I have removed the results or outranked them. But Google is not good at for taking the macro context at all. You can actually create, I shall not tell it because some people might use it, but basically this is what we were fighting here. And the price and the service types of attributes, since the service also was there. Since these contexts are not safe and it is easy to Google, these documents are easily suppressed by the other documents' statistical context and information. To use attributes such as beautiful, attractive, the specific pornography context had to be removed. Because while that documents are there, or while they are not outranked, I can't use the word beautiful around the specific entity. It is dangerous. You should be able to think about these strategical things. That's why I told that map is the military concept. You need to understand what kinds of a move they are doing, so that you can do another conceptual move there as well. Politicians also use all these things all the time. For instance, imagine that Martin Luther King, actually, imagine that he tells, I have a dream, right? He tells, I have a dream. If he will tell, I have a plan, no one will care. No one cares when you have a plan, because it doesn't have any resonance. It doesn't have any magical beginning, you know? When you say I have a dream, it's like holy, it's like sacred, it's like something that we can't reach out to yet, but it's like something that we should be aiming for. So that's why words have some magical context around them, and that's why the other word, the casting in English, basically it is also connected to magic, but casting actually means telling the words, but it is also connected to the magic because they create a kind of magical effect on people's mind. Whenever you use a word, it is connected to another word. Even if you don't want, you can stop it. Our brains are designed for it. That's why I always tell, semantics live inside our brains. Just read the research papers and do your best. And in this case here too, the concepts like magazine, love, lover, scandal, new relationship revealed, etc. type of documents actually easier to connect to the adult context. To connect these specific spouse-related predicates and nouns, the artist, art, author, podcast, and the first husband, Behzat Küller, who is the father of the daughter, Yasemin Küller, are used. So let me explain. There are two ex-husbands. One of them unfortunately dies, and he is a good person. And imagine that I need to blur a certain type of attribute value there because she is an ex-wife. But for which one, basically? So also, to be honest, she is a widow too. I didn't dive in there in the search, no need. But I just actually behaved, or I have just created some new documents about Behzat Küller, so that the first ex-husband might be more important than the second one, and the first entity might be associated with shorter association path, and also more diverse association paths and angles. And once we do that, the daughter Yasemin Küller will be connected back there as well, and so that I can actually use the suppose attribute together with the professional manner and professional context. And then I can actually create a border, a topical border between dentist and the unnecessary love life related things. And why is nature of meaning actually relevant to the Google's understanding of the definition of the things? In this area, the meaning of nature involves semantics, semiotics, philosophy of language, metaphysics, or meta-semantics. And the meaning of nature explains what a thing means from a different angles. For example, psychological theories, truth conditions, measurement, computation, and logical theories define things with different meanings. Truth changes based on the theory that is chosen for the meaning of the nature. For example, correspondence theory says that the correlatives of a thing and its expression should match each other. If an expressed idea has a representation in the universe, it should be true. But while things expressed might not have a true side for this century, they might have one in next one. Basically, this is coming from Aristoteles. Aristoteles tells that if I'm able to imagine God, and if I'm able to see the gods' effect on the planet, or the gods should exist, he tells. But the thing here is that you can actually imagine, I don't know, something scary, a speaking planet. I'm able to imagine it, right? And we know that planets also exist, but they don't speak. But since we have a partial representation of it, according to this theory, I can claim that it's truth, despite it's not. Usually this theory works because when you say a microphone, you are able to find a microphone. It's just here. And in this case, actually, we think microphone. It's also just here. I'm able to see it. I see that an evidence here, which means it's actually a real thing as well. But this theory doesn't work for every century all the time. And there are some other theories here. Correspondence was one of them. And then we have coherence. For instance, coherence theory can provide an alternative perspective on determining truth and accuracy when compared to correspondence theory. Coherence theory suggests that instead of relying solely on the facts from the outside world for verification, one should also consider how well different statements fit together logically within a given system or framework of the thought. This means looking at how consistent ideas are across different domains rather than just focusing on their individual correspondence with external realities alone. This is a good theory too, but it doesn't work always as well because we have fallacies. I can create a claim, then I can create another claim that approves the first claim. But none of them has to be true. So it doesn't work all the time as well. Then we have the constructivist theory. This is the strongest one on the humans. You can't convince someone with strong experience at all, whatever you do, even if you bring here Einstein or something, even if you bring Socrates back to life, still the constructivist people will continue to do what they believe in. Basically, it tells that is a way of thinking about how people learn that stresses how important person's experiences and knowledge. Basically, if someone experiences something bad from something, they will think that it is bad. There is no way of returning it back to you. Sometimes it works, it's true sometimes, and sometimes it's not true at all. When it comes to consensus, this is the one that actually Google accepts. Google accepts that if most of the authoritative sources tells X is Y, X is Y. That's it. But they have to choose it because you're a search engine. A search engine can't experience. A search engine can't check the world whether this thing exists on the real world or not. And a search engine also can't use the coherence theory as well that much because it requires too much computation, to be honest, and natural language inference, which is not that much good. And when it comes to the consensus, it is something that they can use, only thing that they can use. When it comes to the pragmatic theory, basically it tells that it doesn't matter something is truth or not that much. Let's focus on whether it is pragmatic or not. Why do we care what the truth is that much? Let's try to understand whether it provides something to humanity or not. So according to them, the verification of the truth doesn't have to be verified unless it is pragmatic that much. So this is like actually Voltaire, for instance. He was an atheist and he also claimed that God is necessary because it was pragmatic. And at the same, I was about to say programmatic, I am sorry. And when it comes to the logical positivism, you can read it by yourself, but this is basically scientific. If we have actually something that we can get a positive result from it, it means that actually it is a fact. If you don't get a positive result from a test, it's not a fact. And it is also, it doesn't work all the time as well. So that we don't have a single theory to satisfy every situation. That's why we will need to use all these theories together to understand the truth. But when it comes to Google, this is the only one. And here I explain actually the Kelm. Maybe I can show the Kelm language model to quickly to you. In this area, for instance, if you check here, based in the Kelm language model, Google actually has a knowledge graph. They verbalize the knowledge graph, and they are able to actually see that this text is generated. If the text that is generated is closer to your text, it means that you are telling the truth. If it is not close, it means that your content is not accurate. And knowledge-based trust, something that actually I already explained many times in my Semantic Content Network SEO case study. And basically they are able to extract the triples from your content. And if they usually give the truth or accurate, it means that actually you have the knowledge-based trust, and it can balance the page rank as well. And I will publishing the 3 books this year quickly, I believe, after the course. So one of them actually focuses on that concept even more. And factoids. Basically, factoid is unification of a fact with an opinion, and knowledge-based construction around entity-related questions is actually needed for changing an entity's identity and being able to actually convince the search engine at the same time. And you can check the concepts in this area, or you can check this presentation. There is a link for that, opinion-based article ranking. And now I want to show you some of the results. Then I will be giving some of the actually these sections. Then we can end the video. At least I was able to demonstrate some beginning parts a little bit. So to be able to affect the document statistics, actually there are basically 2 ways. One is the legal way. You can remove some of the results by using a lawyer. I did it. I used a lawyer and I have removed many results from really important sources. I translated some of these. For instance, it says surprise love with someone. This one tells a magazine focused sentence. This is also a scam. It tells that the person didn't pay debt, and there is a kind of bank issue for her, which is harming reputation. This title tells that I swear we are not lovers. So you can see what we are dealing with here. And in this area too, the search engine communication section matters too, because you are able to remove results from Google. In this area, I explain you how you can actually remove the results and why search engine leaves these sections open. And if you check the remove more options area, or sorry, about this source panel, you will see actually this part here. Basically, there is always this remove results. Search engine brought this remove result option closer to the SERP. Directly you can, in the old times, it was hard to find this area. Right now it is in everywhere, which means that actually search engine wants you to use these things as much as possible when it is needed. These are the options in this part, and I am giving all these things. You are able to also report any content on YouTube, but if you do this from this form, you can only complain about the thumbnail and the title most of the time. And from Google Shopping to the Google search or to other Google products, we are able to perform these type of reports, and we have used these reports to remove many content there. You can also use trademarks, which is important. Defamation is one of them as well. We removed or we demoted some of these things. Especially focus on personal to identifiable information, and even if the competitors or opposition, even if they don't include this type of thing there, still you are able to make the search engine think that they are actually let's say invalidating some of these rules as well. For instance, you can directly trademark something, or you can behave like you have the trademark. You can remove something. Then when it comes to defamation, you can define what a defamation is for someone basically, and you can use all these parts, all these type of things as well. There are subsections and sub-guides. I explained all these things. There are 2 other sections for YouTube, and the competitors or opposition, they publish many articles inside YouTube too, and we build these specific areas as well. If you fill this area directly from inside the video, they will tell you where it appears, and fill these areas in a long try to fill all these 500 characters. And if you're able to do it in a proper way, and from multiple accounts, it works as well. They demote the video even if they don't remove it. Imagine that there is a video and there are 500 requests or complaints about it. After a point, search engine starts to remove it actually from the Google video carousel, and also it starts to appear in the lower rankings on YouTube as well, which is one of the methodologies, but it should try to use it in a legit way as much as possible. And there are some other explanations in this area, and I give you some technology names here, like VideoBERT, which is a language model to understand the videos. And there are some other things like visual semantic labeling for videos, for video understanding. If you check these researches, you can understand how search engines actually can see the videos, because there is something that we call in-video search. In-video search is connected to these type of timestamps. They check whether a certain type of word actually appears inside the video or not. If it appears, in this case, actually they check directly your complaint as well, and try to write these things in a proper way so that the search engine can actually be convinced. And in this area, we actually have an interesting example from Google, because in 2019, the Scientology, they complained about a video and a blog about themselves, and they wanted to remove it. And Google actually didn't remove it directly, because according to the Google, I can tell that according to the Google, it wasn't against the law, but then they actually had many other types of law or the law issues. That's why usually they started to use the laws, and if you're able to prove that your local laws are actually against the specific content, it might work too, but they directly tell that we can automatically confirm. That's why the complaint count here actually matters. And there are many other things that I have done. I explained them as well, and these were the videos. If you check these videos, you will see that 2 videos are about magazine, 2 videos are about doctorship. That's why here we have the doctor. Then we also, in this area, we have societic, which means magazine related things. It is also important for, by the way, n-grams, because this means dentist, but they tell dentist from the magazine world, which actually they defy, or they make using that specific occupation name harder for me, which is one of the issues. And I needed to actually clear that first. And as much as I can, okay, this is the actual current situation, but I will be showing it to you after explaining these parts too. The first thing that here actually that I have done is 2 things. First of all, you remember the first entity that I have shown you, right? It was actually directly an ex-wife like this. I have created many official websites for this entity. Then I have actually started to connect one of these websites to the new entity that I wanted to create. And then I also, if I can just take here, okay, let me start here. It will be easier. Let me explain. Yeah, there are too many things here that you're going to read. Okay. So in this area, you see that there are 2 entities. Both of them tells dentist. So I removed ex-wife completely. But why there are 2 entities? Because, first of all, 2 different entities focus on 2 different contexts. I created 2 different document clusters. They always use different internal links and external links, and their vocabulary is different. And they have also 2 different entity homes. So search engine is not sure whether they are the same person or not, even if both of them are actual dentists. In this case, I actually, I didn't put an official concept for it yet, but imagine that there is an entity, you create a website, then you take the control of it. Once you take the control of it, you actually suggest changes, they reject. Then from dentist, as I say, I went to the actual journalist. From journalist, from author, we went to the journalist. Because the first thing that I want to do is that actually I wanted search engine to realize that the specific entity has many articles. When I use the author section, the new SERP features actually, when I choose the author subtitle and the entity type, new SERP features started to be appearing. One of them was articles. Search engine has taken all the articles of the entity by recognizing them, and they started to rank the articles directly. And also on the SERP, another dynamic serving of the content section appeared. Basically a sidebar appeared with the articles. Articles from nationwide, actually, publications from vernacular in a scientific way, they are published and they start to appear, which means this attribute, articles and authors, they were the first tier of the entity. When we ask who is a vernacular, she was an author right now, and articles matter most. Then I turned author to the journalist, and in this area we actually had many other biographic things as well, and a new sub-process has been started to redefine the entity. And the search engine actually brought other types of outposts from vernacular directly to the SERP one more time. Which means that if I would go directly with a dentist, the articles or other types of posts that is coming from vernacular, they wouldn't have any kinds of chance. To be able to actually use these things in a cost-effective way, you need to force search engine to look at these options. If I go to the dentist directly, articles wouldn't come there because no need for that. None of the dentists, they actually have that much books or articles or these type of things, and ex-wife section still will stay strong. So when it comes to the algorithmic hierarchy, if a search engine uses one of the sub-processes that they have, usually they want to do it in an economical way, which means that actually if they have a result, a concrete satisfactory result from one of the sub-processes, even if that sub-process belongs to a specific type of entity identity or a certain type of query or certain type of topic, still they will be using it, even if that topic changes or even if that entity changes its type, because once there was a cost, but still the result was good. So they know that, yes, the main attribute is dentist, but also in the sub-attributes that is not served, author is still there. So we actually added multi-identities to the specific entity, and ex-wife became author, journalist, dentist at the same time, and dentist was the first, and ex-wife has went to do just to the last part. But it wasn't good enough. Then we created a second entity. The second entity there, it was directly dentist, but it is coming from a new entity home, which is a new official website. And there we add a different document cluster or document network that internally or it's not directly internal, of course, but there is a different sub-internal section inside the link graph, and they are linking each other with a different types of vocabulary, and all the articles are written by different authors, so the vocabulary and the sentence structure are completely different, images are unique as well. And there, the second entity is directly dentist. And in that part, when you search for the name, the search engine gives you unification of two entities. One is pure dentist, the other one is author, journalist, dentist, and ex-wife, which means unification of these two entities on the universal search is 90% or at least 80% what we want to see, which is a dentist, author, journalist, a mother, and many other things. Then we also created a podcast. And then we created another official website, and we turned the entity into a podcast show runner and show owner. Then we also increased other contexts more, and new SERP features started to appearing. For instance, podcasts directly inside Google Podcasts. We registered it. But this project, due to my health issues and some other issues in Turkey especially, as you know, we may have many problems. After we complete the 80% of the project, at least right now it is slower, but the next step actually was publishing a biography for the entity and registering the book also to the Google Books. And then, even if this opposition actually creates new fake porns, fake news, slandering, etc., when you have a book, when you have a podcast, when you actually have many different identities that is registered by and also recognized by the search engine, they won't be able to appear in that area at all. We also triggered actually many top stories section too by publishing many news sources at the same time as well. And if you check the articles, you can also see how we structured that: 2 science, 2 magazine. And then we also designed new images, because when it comes to the scientific celebrities especially, or when it comes to the celebrities, you will need too many images. If you don't have unique images, it will be harder to compress or suppress the other side, because if they have unique images, image pack will be showing them, and from the image section they will be taking authority for rank and relevance, and it will be reflected on the universal search. These things are explained in these areas, by the way. If you check this area, why is PageRank important for entity identity creation and management? Why is SERP estate control for entity identity creation and management important? Why is DMCA requests are important? What are the spammy examples? And probably you have seen it in this video. And also, what are the search engine result page samples for entity identity creation? You can see all the SERP examples. Why is using different authors important for entity identity creation? Because we have to change the vocabulary and the word sequences. If the search engine realizes that all the articles are coming from the same source, it's not something positive, and they can actually realize this easily. And why are every file types important? As this is important too, because we use different types of files to be able to actually rank higher, because in search engine result page diversification, there is always different types of algorithms, and in Yandex too, Yandex leaked source code, it was there. Basically, if you always see video content on the SERP, a web page has a higher ranking chance, the first one at least, or the representative of the cluster one. For instance, in the images area, you can use a GIF. If your competitor doesn't use a GIF, since there is only a single GIF, search engine will want to include it there. And digital PR section is also explained. And why is using other search engines important too? Because we will be showing you results from other search engines too. This was a multi-search engine project, and search engines check each other's content if for actually debugging their own algorithm or understanding their competitors. If the results between two search engines are too different, it means that actually they have two different index or they have two different ranking algorithms. In this case, they want to understand why it is different. They will check each other's patents, research papers, and also they will check their stuff. They will also check their ranking algorithm updates as well, so they can actually understand the position and the stance or the opinion mindset of their competitors. And if they realize that this specific entity is a dentist in Bing, but ex-wife in Google, it's an issue. So that's why they need to check what others show as well, so that these things actually can change in a little bit correlative way as well. Blurring the entity identity information, or also why it is important. And information foraging means constructing SERP to satisfy the average user, but also other minority user clusters. And blurring identity means that, I already explained it, we try to change the definition of the identity. You can't go to the other side directly. You need to create a progressive change inside the consensus. You can't directly tell that no, she is not an ex-wife. You can't tell it. You can make it progressive change, like different shades should be created there. And this is also valid for other types of semantic SEO projects as well. And universal search is important because it is a unification of entire other search verticals, and we have used every vertical of the search here, including illustrations, GIFs, PPTX, only one time, but in this case the article I didn't include it as well. So inside here you can realize actually what information zone is, what information point is, and what entity home is. These are the website samples. You can also check it. And I also explain why Prabhakar Rakavan is important one more time, and because he is one of the persons who defines information zone. If I read this area, entity home is a concept that is found by the Jason Barnard and as brand SERP and knowledge panel management. The entity home is a specific web page from which the search engines learn the entity identity, attributes, and values. These web pages are the centroids within the web page clusters that define the related phrases, attributes within the phrases, and queries that are connected to phrases, and other entities that are associated with the entity, and the value types such as the date, amount, age, weight, height, artwork, opinion, stance, and more. The entity home creation process is the process of creating an information point within the web for defining the entity. Information point is a connected concept to the information retrieval. Basically, information retrieval is for understanding relevance, extraction is for taking information, information zone by use for information retrieval, information point has been used by the extraction algorithms. And basically here we give relevance, we also give responsive answers for possible generated questions as well. And the consensus theory, nature of meaning, corroboration of web answers, or groundedness, they are all related here in this area. If you learn all these concepts, it will be easier for you to think. You can see here, this is the first version. As you see, the knowledge panel is not claimed, and ex-wife is here, groom, wedding pictures, and not divorce picture, as you see here. And this is the the magazine source here, and these are the other lovers of this, I guess. I don't know, but all these people are basically lovers. It's like Gossip Girl. Anyway, uh, and this is the transition process. As you see in this area, search engine uses both of them. Two subtitles appear together, dentist and also ex-wife. Now we start the transition, then it becomes actually author. This means yazar means author, and we lost the picture. And the second entity, we create a second sorry, this is the second entity. This one here actually it says XY, but the picture is different as well. And whenever we change something for one of them, the other one also follows it in a different way as well. And this section here too, we have two ways. Indirectly we can affect this, and directly. Indirectly means that we are affecting document and query statistic, which is very much more stronger. Directly means that we suggest suggestions, but it might be rejected. The verification methodology in the knowledge panel, it is in this area, and this is my knowledge panel. I am a consultant, and here we have these things. This news coverage in this area, and this is example from English web. LinkedIn is here, my profiles here, my definition is here. I'm a consultant, and videos and overview is here. Soon books will be there too, but I don't optimize my own results that much, or I don't care. And I also here explain the concepts like consolidation of named entity between languages and different search verticals. And here named entity recognition, resolution, linking, and registering are explained, and you can read them. Named entity linking is basically related to the entity home. It is linking the most related page and most authoritative page for you. We also have corroborative web pages, which means we link other supporting evidence pages, independent third-party pages as well. You can suggest edits like this, but usually they are rejected, I can tell. And this part is important too. The duration of waiting for a change after making a knowledge panel change request directly changes according to the entity's prominence, region, and language. If you are not that much important entity, it might take actually even longer than 10 days, I can tell. This is the author entity explanation, as you see, and still, as you see, the knowledge panel it's not claimed. We are doing these changes without any kinds of direct change in that area. And you should definitely read all these things. These are the steps. Like a podcast series is created. You can listen it if you want, by the way. Podcast series of a maker is used on Spotify, SoundCloud, or other areas. Then journalist she becomes. Then here we have journalist section, and you see that scientific results are appearing. And knowledge graph section explained. Now we have two dentists. This means dentists, two dentists at the same time. People also ask questions have changed, and this is the first section. As you see, the first question says marriage, the second one says how many children in this area. But even if that section, if I look at sorry, this is actually later stage, but I will need to explain it a little bit because we changed the answers. Because when you click to the marriage section, you see Behzat Külür here directly, and which means that actually we are opening a new path in that part as much as possible. And when you search for Behzat Külür, another knowledge panel appears in this part. In a suppose area, we have Emek Külür, and this is the Emek Külür picture directly. This section actually needs to be improved because we need very much more document for Behzat Külür to define and make also him important as much as this one in the knowledge graph. Then we search for the daughter, and in this area, in one of the podcast episodes, we focus on the daughter. That's why the section is here. Whenever we have this podcast, and according to the search engine, the television series and the podcast, they are taken as the single entity, which means an episode from a podcast will be connected to the next one in terms of the macro context, which means that this section will be connected to our other episodes. Every episode has been created for a different attribute. Basically, every episode has been explaining another attribute by making it more and more important, and that's why we always have Emek Külür inside the images as well. And in this area, we also see something more. Once we actually click to the what is the age of the Emek Külür, we also see the doctor section here, which is good. We see also this part. I have used these phrases a lot. It says successful dentist, not magazine dentist. Okay, that part is important. If you have a 4 gram, go with the 4 gram. It's too technical, I know, but just do it. If you have a 4 gram phrase that you want to change, replace it with a 4 gram. Important. If you want to learn more, just check the section like out of vocabulary concept, OOV. And based on that, I replace it with the successful dentist. And here when we click what is the age of Dr. Emekülür, we see Dr. Emek Doğer, which means the entity is connected to other doctors, even if it is because of the name similarity. We also see that the daughter appears with the same attribute as well, which means attribute is connected to attribute, entity is connected to entity, which is a good connection. These are some of the results that we created. When you search for her name right now, you see all these sections, and most of these things are, all of these things are near actually. Yeah, all of them are from us. This is family life, and different sections. This website is coming from us. Again, one more time, family life. And here, these are coming from daughter section, sorry. And again, this is coming from us, and this image is also in the image pack. And there are many other sections here. Bing pages. I won't be able to explain it right now, but check it. Microsoft Bing will be a problem for Google. These are the Yandex results, and here we directly have the dentist. Then we also have most of the time, as you see, 99% of the time we have just Emekülür as single. This is the last one. All the videos are actually scientific and focus on the context that we want. And in this area, we see our podcast with the timestamps directly. Only this one is magazine, but 99%, actually, let's say 95% is for us. We see words like DR, DT, which means doctor for both of them in Turkish. And here we see all the results that we created, none of them magazine, all of them scientific. This is directly her journalist articles, let's say. And here we have the results, some other digital PR work that we have done, and this is the latest. But lately I don't publish that much due to do some course preparation, and these are the Bing results. We see the live ones as well. And I should have been publishing this case study way much before, to be honest, because once I stop publishing these things for our part, things have started to change a little bit. Let's say a new balance has been created, so it needs to be continuing actually. This is important too, because ChatGPT like systems can't think these things, or they can't do these type of things too. The same also will be happening other concepts. This is not an SEO work only for named entities, as I say. Also for the topics like cancer or hair transplant, you will have the same situation. You will need to create a consensus. And SEO won't be that. It will actually be very much more important, and it will be very much more expensive. And search engines will need to actually serve way much more sources on their search engine result pages. And after a point, talking to AI will be boring, because you will realize that you lost your interest. And even if you take the answers in a quick way, still whenever you need more, you will go actually one of the suggested real expert sources. And the real advantage here is that imagine that you create a chatbot that uses your content as a knowledge base. It will be happening too. You will be giving your content network, and chatbot will be giving all the answers just from your content, which means you will have your own chatbot, your own ChatGPT for your own industry as well, and it will require actually these type of results or these type of things. And right now AI has been used for detecting actually AI content, and this is the latest state of artwork here. Basically, based on the whitelisted and blacklisted words, and based on the statistical signatures, we are able to detect whether something is coming from a certain large language model or not. And we are able to detect it with the actual 98% of the certainty already. So which means that if a search engine or if another website uses your own content, we will be able to recognize it, and probably it will be an issue for DMCA one day as well. So don't get scared, things will be way much more fun for us. And also you should be checking here too. We changed many other sections here. For instance, in this area it says hate. Basically hate. And here we have a form, biography, and Instagram, age, and spouse, and this is ex-wife there. This is the Behzat Gürür, which means that actually we created an alternate there. It didn't appear before. Once we created Behzat Gürür as an entity, this appeared, which means it is a balancer, and it is more important because it's coming earlier. If you check the current situation here, actually it is nearly same, but there are some subtle changes there. We also used reviews to increase the reputation of the entity. We use Google posts. It is important because it is about actually SERP estate control. A SERP estate means that actually for how many pixel you are ranking, not in what pixel you are ranking, how many pixel you cover. Basically, if you are not able to outrank, if you are not able to make them go away, just try to create more SERP features. Try to create these Google posts in Google business profiles. It will be a carousel. Ask questions to your Google business profile. They will be also having a place in the mobile search results. Create products, create services, create discounts, or many other things. They will all have different types of spaces on the SERP, so it won't leave that much space to the other context. And since business profile is for business, the business context, which is dentist, will be actually prioritized to keep the SERP more responsive. And this slider, it is directly there as well. And other information sections have been put there. This warning is appearing at the bottom of the search engine result page. It basically tells that some of the results are being removed due to legal reasons. DMCA complaints also have been used. As you know, once even Reddit lost their homepage rankings due to the DMCA. And this is a complete section. As you see, carousel is actually appearing, but the image is not complete. It's actually continuous like that. Two entities are here. We have these things here. Images are in this area. People also ask questions here, and non-magazine results are in this part too. And when it comes to the page rank, these are the sources that we use. No page rank, no page rank, no page rank, no page rank, or no that much traffic as well. When it comes to competitor, you see millions of clicks, and lots of page rank. Still, we were able to actually win, let's say over 80%. Just for now. And these are some of the screenshots that you can check. I just put all of them. They will be inside a gallery. You can check the transition of the search results. For instance, do you remember these video results? It directly here. As you see, this is our podcast. Doctor, it says one of them is like that. It also explains video ranking because we are dominating the video search results with a one YouTube channel. It's not possible. We are taking 9 results with one YouTube channel. So the last one actually comes from another YouTube channel, and the view count there is also it also matters too. We also opened, by the way, Medium account, Pinterest account, Twitter account, but Twitter ranks on USA, not in Turkey, because some certain types of domains are prioritized in terms of ranking on certain types of geographies for certain types of entities. For person entities in English language in USA, Twitter ranks higher. But when it comes to Turkey, it's not that strong. So that's why I also talk about universal search and consolidating the entity resolutions in different languages. That's why actually I have shown my Turkish and English entity search results or brand SERP instances there. Because if you are not able to compete in English against your competitor for defining an entity or cleaning your brand SERP, go for French, go for German, go for Arabic or others. Create a consistent amount of, important amount of document. Define your entity in French in a highly authoritative and proper way. Then search engine will directly reflect it also in English too. It will be very much easier to convince the search engine in that way. And the search engine already automatically give the results in other languages by translating them. So I already explained this actually in this area in the translation part. You should be checking it too. As you know, I don't write video scripts. How can I explain these things in the scripts? That's why I write the article. This is the index. As you see, most of the results are video, and these are the regular results. All of them actually are the results that we want. Some of them are not. These are the related searches for Yandex. This is for us. This is for us. This is good too. This is good too. These two are good too. But this one and this one, these are ugly. I hate them. This one regular, and this one is regular too. It's not that much bad, but the other ones, they are bad. I won't tell the meanings. I disgusting from my point of view, to be honest. It's not that much bad, but I know the opposition. That's why it bothers. And these are some other screenshots from different timelines, and you can check all of them. These are the video results. As you see in the carousel, we have only doctor. This one is our podcast basically. These are the video section. This is the video carousel on the universal search. This is the video search results directly. We have doctor and other doctor results and knowledge panelist here too. And this is the first page, regular results, another entity home that we created, and Twitter is in that area too. And you can basically check all these sections, as I say. Yes, there are some big pictures in this part too. This is the podcast series. Inside the podcast section, I can also tell that there were many technical issues in the websites. A lot. As you see, this title is pretty bad. We even couldn't change it properly. And this is one of the sections. Dentist, we give actually a definition with nationality, even education, born, and other things. And this one, this is the first sample, by the way, not the current situation, but you can check some other areas. This was the first one too, as you see. This is what I mentioned with the dynamic content serving. As you see, it appears sometimes at the left side. It happened because we are coming from the author section as well. And there are many other things here that you can actually check. Okay, this is, I have put some of these also. I have put all of them actually into the gallery, and you'll be able to check them. So let's move on to this area. This is, as you see, it says successful, a successful dentist. This is Bing. Basically, when we ask for who is a macular, it says successful dentist. And all the results, macular dat, macular com, macular org, they are there. Macular net is here. YouTube is here. All these results are as the ones that we want. And macular org again, Instagram, YouTube, and also hospitals, etc. They are here too. Video results are also as we want to. When it comes to the regular search in this area, it goes like this: macular.net and macular.com, macular.net, macular.org. I also explained the cannibalization and Google cannibalization algorithm differences between Google and Microsoft Bing. You can also check it inside the case study. And what macular thinks about the dentistry, for instance, this is an article that we also have written. It ranks there because the person is directly a dentist. And we have the social profiles of the entity, and all the other things are here too. When it comes to Yandex, in this area, we have these videos. It's actually 95% as we want, I can tell. When it comes to this area, when asked before the question, who is the podcast and other things are here too. This is directly coming from the Google area. You can also check it with the 100 results. The podcast feature, it comes in the second page. If I actually create the third entity home, it will be coming in this area too, so you can check it. Most of the news that we published, they are actually in the second page due to the page rank as well, but they are supporting the pages in the first page as well. I explained this one already here. So I will explain these research papers, then the last video before the course is ending. So basically Google is actually able to track the person inside the videos, and they're able to actually take frames, and they're able to characterize the person and recognize the person and store the person information. This is related to actually a little bit the celebrity search and the video search together. But imagine that they're able to recognize who you should be listening to. Sometimes you can see that someone that you listen regularly in YouTube, they might appear in your YouTube homepage, even if video title, video description, or comments, or any of the video tags actually mention them, still they are there. Even if actually text of the video or subtitles of the video or the words inside the video don't mention them, still they will be there, because voice and the face, they are easily recognizable. So they will be recognized, stored, and used in the video search as well. I already explained this one. This is the most important one here. Context-based person search. Inside the context-based person search, we are able to check which entity appears where, how many times, together with what other entity, and we are able to understand their relevances. This was the main research that main pattern that I have used during this type of case studies. And this is from Google, flagging famous people. And this is an example actually directly from Dear Bill Slavsky. It explains how the famous people actually should be served on the search engine result pages. It's coming from s.com. It's sad that we don't have another Bill Slavsky, to be honest. Lots of other patents are coming. I am not able to read them. No time. So in this section, actually I will skip that. And in this area, performing entity actions on the sites. This is not directly about the person search, But basically imagine that based on the website segments or the sections, we are able to understand what a page actually can include or can do. You will need to include these type of entities or entity actions or the relations according to the entity type inside your web pages too. If you have a dentist, book an appointment will be one of the entity actions there. It will be connected to the price, use it. Google is a social search engine, and it says artwork answers and circle posts in Google search results. So this is actually a good article too. It tries to explain what a social search engine is and what kinds of a connection search engine Google actually can create between users based on the social signals, and also like question answer platforms or other areas. I will suggest you to read it because person search is about that, because this actually Bing pages is also about that. But your brand SERP is actually, it's like a Facebook profile now. So you need to see it in that way. It is explaining that. And main entity is this is something that I already explained, but you can check it. But all these sections and identifying central entities, try to check it, please. It will be useful for you. I remember the Aaron Ofek actual name a lot. It will be useful, and usually names here are consistent too. Will be easily for you generating a second entity graph for the first resource. Do you remember the candidate entity or candidate association and association candidate basically from the article? You should check it. And this one here, it is important, but this is important for actually auto suggestions. I already created a really good amount of articles for that. I won't dive in that much. But if you want to change the auto suggestions, you should focus on these two. Actually, I have a really good spam example for that. If I create a view, I can create a YouTube Shorts for it later. It's a little bit dangerous, but it's about that creating fake websites to be indexed actually, but it can be used later. For identifying names, this is about nicknames as much as I can remember. Yes, because if you have a nickname for your entity, it will be easier to actually make it recognizable. So try to use it Dr, DT, DR, Emek, Külür, Emek, or even you can use the labor, which is English of the Emek. And you can use whatever you want there. Just be consistent with it. Use different variations, make it more recognizable. And when it comes to this one, sorry for this. When it comes to this area, this is actually also about the Yandex link too, because there is also direct section there. But basically, imagine that I also tried to open Wikipedia pages, but they are deleted. Then I created them in a different way. But the thing is that imagine that I changed the angle. I marked the other side as ex-husband. At least for 3 weeks, it was in that way. I couldn't show it, but it was good. Anyway, this is augmented search queries. I explained this. Basically, based on the connections of the entities, we have different types of context vectors and contextual domains. It is coming from, as you remember, dense retrieval. At the beginning of the video, it is given. Check these research papers and other articles from Bill Slavsky. As you know, he writes in a more understandable way. And social network powered search engines. It is important to actually understand the human associations on a social network. It also gives you certain types of context or ideas to how to change relations or associations between entities as well. And this is the one that I shown you in this part. If you want to see entire pattern, just check just here. You can actually read the specific sections, but I will suggest you check especially the word actual attribute to be able to understand these things further. And if you are able to especially check, actually Tom Hanks is like he's in all the patterns, but just check it. Just search for Tom Hanks. If you see the example, it will be helping to you. This one is the other pattern in that part. And in this case, we can actually end the video. I believe I explained most of the context. I can show you results from also this area too, from Microsoft Edge. I believe we will be using Microsoft Bing a lot, but do not scared. SEO will stay with us. There is no need for being scared there. It will be even more important. My suggestion to you is that learn natural language processing immediately. So my people, please move, please join actually to the Facebook group. I am too tired, as I say, due to the earthquake in Turkey. Join to the Facebook group of the Holistic SEO. It is a free group and we share information there for all of you, and I will be sharing the information there. And after all these, let's say 1 year, I published, I believe, more than 16 different SEO case studies, and I have published more than maybe even 40 hours of videos for just training the industry and changing the industry. In my situation, it is hard because I realize that many people steal my concepts, my methods, my strategies, and they try to give them like they are theirs. But it's not. When it comes to topical authority, topical maps, and also other concepts like, let's say, contextual domains, contextual layers, and many things in this area, including entity identity creation and management, these concepts are actually mainly coming from me. For instance, entity homes, brand serves, they are coming from Jason Barnett. I always cite people. I always cite Bill Slavsky. And I waited for a year because if it would be about making money, I will be publishing these things way much before. The thing here is that the things that I am doing, they are new. It's something that you didn't see. And if you think that you have seen it before, probably it will be harder for you to learn that what I am doing. And I will be showing many testimonials from, they have already over 10 years of experience in SEO field. They all feel the same way. So that's why stay open-minded. And once I publish these things, I will be happy in the future if you're able to give an attribution or citation or something, because I have an academic character, and I would like to be actually cited with my own concepts if it is possible. It's just the kindness that we should be showing, and it will be helpful for actually increasing the innovation speed in the SEO field. As you know, this is a disorganized industry. We won't have a second Bill Slavsky, for instance. And having these type of fundamental changes in the SEO in terms of mindset, we will need this type of respect to each other. With that said, I know that many people already left the video, which is normal. I don't blame them, and I know that many people also come back to these videos more than 40 times to watch, to finish, to learn, and to continue to learn, to take notes. You sent me many pictures, many emails, and I am thankful for all of them. And we will meet in the community, and we will meet in the course, and it will be a course that we actually update regularly and improve regularly too. Love you all. Thanks for listening to me, and namaste.